Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. This is Thais Soares. We're just going to wait for 2 more minutes for the other participants to join our Enriching Brazil webinar. Okay, so people are joining our session and I'm gonna start. Thank you all for joining us today for this Enriching Brazil webinar. We will be discussing a little bit of what Enriching Brazil is, and then I'm gonna pass the word to our guest of the day, Professor Newton Frateschi from the Innovation Agency of Unicamp. He will be talking about the existing call for startups that provide solutions for COVID-19 problems. So just briefly going through what Enriching Brazil is. We are the European network of research and innovation centers and hubs. We are a funded project from the European Commission. And this is some of our goals. We intend to bridge Brazil and Europe. We want to be providing partners of excellence and influential state of art. We provide unique membership-based network. We connect you to funding agencies in both Brazil and also in Europe. Our business is making innovation happen. So our intention is just to be the partner that you need to find solutions for your projects and your business. So about Enriching Brazil, we are an association of world-class partners. We provide, as we spoke, the state of art in innovation policy, research, and making. We connect key players and innovators, and we connect solutions that build long-lasting partnerships. This is some of our partners that we have in Enriching Brazil. So you can see that we have partners in both Europe and Brazil. So this makes our networks of connections really broad. We have universities, we have innovation agencies on board, we have consulting companies, and so on. So where we are now physically, we have a headquarters in Brasilia. We will be moving to São Paulo soon to our branch office. And we have a representation in Belgium, in Brussels, in one of our partners' office. ENRICH is an initiative of the European Commission, executed by Brazil by the SEBRABIC project that has received funding from the European Union's Horizon 2020 Research and Innovation Program. So this is some of the key areas that we intend to work with Enriching Brazil. We provide executive education and trainings in several topics. We have this high-level network due to the presence of our partners in Europe and Brazil. We provide solutions and funding matchmakings, and we also have some soft landing hubs in Brazil. So now I'm going to go briefly through some success stories that we have for our Enriching Brazil Association. As you can see there, we had the Innovation Talks event. It was launched in Brasilia in December last year, and we had the presence of the European Union Ambassador to Brazil, Mr. Inácio Ibanez. We also assisted Natura in their innovation challenge called Zero Waste in Packing. So we provided Natura with the innovation challenge and also to seek some companies that could provide the solutions that they needed, both in Europe and Brazil. And this was the innovation and matchmaking tour that we had last year to Brazil. This group was formed by European entrepreneurships and researchers that went to Brazil to find partners for their projects. These pictures of the visit that we had in LACTEC. Join us if you're interested. We provide business solutions for science, technology, and innovation. So if you are interested to become a member of the association, we can discuss the details later. But basically, you can be an European or Brazilian organization. You can be individual party. You want to seek for innovation in both areas of science and technology. This is some of the programs that we have for this year of 2020. We have scheduled some webinars in several topics such as STI landscapes, urban living labs, innovation agencies, European Union and Mercosur free trade agreement, Horizon Europe program, and so on. We also have scheduled the blended learning. This is something that we are yet to be implementing in Brazil. We also have some innovation initiatives, the matchmaking platform and the innovation challenge to be launched very soon by the end of this month. And we also have some guidelines that you can download from our website regarding funding for innovation. We have our monthly publication with news from Brazil. And we have some market studies in bioeconomy and industry 4.0. I'm gonna go through briefly some of the webinars that we had this year. This is all the 6 webinars that we already implemented in the scope of Enriching Brazil. And here you can see some of the guidelines that we have available for free download in our website. This is our monthly publication that you can receive in your email if you register in our website. And that's it. If you have any questions or are interested to join our association Enriching Brazil, you can always write me an email. This is my email, thaisoares@spi.pt. And now I'm gonna be passing the word to our guest, Professor Newton Frateschi. Professor, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you for joining, and you may move on with your presentation.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay, well, first of all, I'd like to thank ENRICH and ENRICH Brazil for inviting me and to give me this opportunity for us to talk a little bit about some of the actions we are going through, particularly about the crisis of the COVID-19. But I also would like to use this opportunity to show a little bit about our university and our agency. And then in the sense, I will make more sense and you understand why this call is important and why we making this call is a way of really providing real results in terms of innovation towards the problem itself or solving this problem. I think first I'd like to introduce myself, and who am I? I think it's important. Actually, I have a background initially physics, a bachelor and master's in physics. Actually, I started in engineering, then I decided to go to physics, but then I came back again to electrical engineer. I got my master's and PhD at USC in California. So electrical engineer, the areas of expertise is optoelectronics, microelectronics, integrated photonics, and I'm a professor now at the Physics Institute at Unicamp. And I have a lot of experience with management. So I was the director of the Center for Semiconductor Components and Nanotechnologies. And I was the deputy director and then the director of the Physics Institute at Unicamp. And I think the question is then why am I here at this innovation webinar, and why am I in Inova, which is the tech transfer or the innovation agents of Unicamp? Well, before this management areas, I have a very big experience with working with high-tech startups in the USA. I have here some pictures. I even got like a employee of the month. I like this because I think it's funny. So I got like a nice dinner as a present. These are the people that we used to work in a clean room. And this was me a long time before with a group of PhDs from that company. So we are making modulators, light modulators, and doing the next step for the optical communication devices at those days. This is so giving all this experience, and then when I start management, I always try to make a big connection between academia and innovation and new companies and technology. And then I end up becoming the executive director of Inova Unicamp. And this is me now. I will now proceed with the presentation. Unicamp, I think it's good to introduce to you the history of a little bit of our university. We have actually 3 campi. One in Piracicaba, other in Limeira, the other one in Campinas. The largest one is Campinas. And basically, these are 3 cities within a distance of less than 60 kilometers apart, all these. So we are very localized university. And for the campus of Campinas, you see here surrounded by an orange color is our current campus. And in yellow is an expansion area in which we are building what is called an international hub for sustainable development. In fact, Inova has moved to the center of this new expanded area, such that we were going to become the leaders, or at least helping to make the connection between the outside world, Unicamp, in this international hub. The university is new. We are like 50 plus years old. And we always focus on high quality teaching and research and services to society, and doing a bridge between academy and industry. This is very important. Therefore, we have a very strong initiatives in terms of supporting the innovation and entrepreneurship to provide and to build this bridge. And I think that's why it's so important that it's almost like inevitable that we lead this type of calls. We have 24 schools, institutes, and 21 interdisciplinary research centers, about almost 2,000 faculty and researchers, and 9,000 employees, like for supporting research or not. And it's about 40,000 students, and a particular characteristics of our university is that almost half of those are grad students. So there's a good material for research now, okay? And how do we connect with the industry? I mean, I like this plot here that shows the several ways we can do it in terms of, in the bottom of it is in terms of numbers, in terms of quantity, and a little bit less density. But one way of transferring knowledge from the university to the outside world is through the flow of graduates from the university to the industry. And this is the fact. If you go around in our ecosystem, you always find somebody from the university in key positions. So this basically what this is telling us is that a good university that already has this commitment to make this bridge between society and the university naturally becomes starts populating the ecosystem surrounding it, and this creates a very nice flow of knowledge between the university and the outside world. And then you can start going vertically in this graph. Then you can have, because of that, informal contacts within professional networks, then conferences, expositions, and specialized media between academy and industry, co-publications, then a nice mobility of researchers from the academy to industry and vice versa. And then more specifically, then you can start doing research contracts. I'll show you some of the numbers, licensing of technologies or licensing of knowledge or know-how, then creating the spin-offs, and eventually even joint labs, very dedicated to particular objectives in a given technology. So Inova started in 2003. Actually, it was even before the innovation law in Brazil. And I think the most important thing that I like to share with you is that we believe that innovation agency has to have 4 axes. If you don't have any of these axes, your innovation agency will have problems. And one is obviously intellectual property. You need to know how to protect the knowledge. You need to know how to handle this type of thing. And I'll show how this is also important for crisis like we are living right now, in terms of how you handle the intellectual property when you have a call like the one I'll be talking a little later. Also, partnership and cooperative projects. It's very important to have this well established. Also, if you don't have just 2 things working together, it's very hard to do any call or any type of initiative in terms of solving problems that can be long-term or very short-term or even urgent terms like we are living now. Also, we have an area for entrepreneurship, and then we have a science and technology park incubator where we put people physically from the academy and the outside world together. And a very key axis here is institutional relations and communications, because this changes the culture internally, changes the culture externally, promotes event, and actually makes all these bilingual, if I can say that way, communication between whatever goes on in the university and outside the university happens in a much more efficient way. Some of the numbers we have, I'm not going to go through all this with very detailed, but essentially, we have today a portfolio of about almost 1,100 patents. And I think a good metric to see how much innovation goes on in the university is the number of innovation disclosures. We receive about 119 innovation disclosures, like for 2019, and this is a typical number. It can go up or down. And the big thing now is to look at this invention disclosure and not look at it only in the concept of that invention being patentable or not. We are looking much more in terms of how we can make some business, how we can really innovate in creating a new product or service, and how we can promote that using our 4 axes, as I mentioned before. So now we're developing a flux for treating the innovation disclosures, and the same flux can be applied when we make a call related to COVID-19, which is how you take something, an invention, or a willing for a partnership, how you take that and really transform into a product or service. Otherwise, we'll be only a patent office or somebody that's just trying to protect things and not making things really happen. I mean, not making innovation. In terms of partnership, like in 2019, we had 53 contracts with research and development. And this started exactly the same way we are starting now. Obviously, I mean, people can go there and communicate, given a desire to work with the university, and then we go there and look for partners. Or these partners can be from the faculty, from the researchers, can be from our incubator, can be from our science technology park, it can be from our partners, the alumni companies, which is something else that I'll be talking later. And then we can help them establishing these contracts. Last year was about amount of 133 millions approximately of research contracts established only in 2019. And then in terms of licensing technologies or know-how, you see here the evolution. First, the ongoing licenses. We have something like 120, a little bit over 120 licenses that are now licensed. And out of those, some are actually intellectual property licenses that are signing every year. So the number is usually around 20. And usually those licenses are things, obviously, that the university owns that, but it may be a product of a given collaboration. So if you participate in a call for the COVID and you have an idea, you may help develop with the researchers in the university, you both will end up having a patent, and then the costs are shared, and then you can license eventually, and that can be exclusive or not exclusive depending on the case. And then eventually the company wins, the university wins, and I mean, it's a win-win. The royalties typical as of today, and this is one metric, is about 1.6 million a year. And we now are looking more in metrics a little bit more, what do you call it, a little more that describes better the impact of the university in the ecosystem. And that is, for instance, the number of new products created. Obviously, the university TRL levels are usually are low, and then you don't expect to have direct products like on the supermarket shelves, but it's very important to see where in the product chain the university is contributing. This is one thing. The other thing is what licenses are generating more intellectual property, and then and this intellectual property may end up leading to more knowledge and eventually more business. The number of spin-offs created, or the impact in terms of jobs and the social impact, particularly in the area that to provide services to society, particularly our hospital or with education. But I don't have time to go through all this because I think otherwise I'll be a bit out of the focus of our conversation here. We have a science technology park, and it's about 100,000 square meters of urbanized area that these companies, even these companies making the calls, that it may eventually may have decided that they actually want to be inside of our park. And there are three possibilities for them to be there. If it's a big company, you need to have an R&D program with university. But if you're just a company that is starting, we can come to our incubator. So it's part of this call that there is a possibility that these companies or this new may come to become incubated in our science and technology park. And also, you may be a startup and you have a space in the startup. And the good thing about that is that you be together with all the people from the university and the people from the park. So the startups can, or the incubated companies or the big companies can talk among themselves. So you may find another startup that can actually help in some of the demands that you have for your product. You may find a big company that may partner with you, or the other way around, the big company may find partners for open innovation. So all the call, I mean, when you participate in it, there is a possibility that you may be part of our community in that sense. So it becomes much more natural, the transformation of the call in, or simply the idea in a new product or a service. Now we have in our park 32 companies, 440 direct jobs. 293 of those are dedicated to research and development programs. Like considering only in 2019, we had 15 research contracts with Unicamp, and those were for about 11 million reais. So you see that it's really a lot of things going on there, and I'm sure now after the quarantine and all the social isolation ends, I'm sure that this area will be pumped by a lot of people trying to come up with new solutions or helping that society don't go through a problem like we are going through now. Never. Okay, these are some of the logos of the companies, but let me show some pictures of one of the buildings called Núcleo, the other one is Vértice. We have a new building on innovation of biofuels. This is a very particular one on the left side of your screen. And this is one of the pictures of our incubator. That's actually incubators in all buildings, but there is one that has only the incubator. Finally, in our new place in that hub for international hub for sustainable development, we have an area we call Anexo, and this is a little picture of that. I mean, we are in the center of a farm. It's a beautiful place. We are actually starting it now. And there's a new building also next to the other buildings where 3 companies will be residing there as soon as we can start repopulating the buildings for work, for co-working spaces. Okay, finally, I think this is very important because part of the call was made towards these companies. We call them alumni companies, and the alumni companies, there are like 95% of them are from alumni, students that were students from the university. About 3% are incubated companies, and here we count, once the company was a student that incubated, we count as a student, they're not incubated. And then 2% is faculty, ex-faculty from the university. So if you have an idea, well, let's go directly to 2019. We have 815 registered companies and 717 are active as of today. And the numbers, the revenues of these companies are almost 8 billion reais now, and the number of jobs that they create is about 31,000 jobs. So you have like very large companies and very small companies all together. That, and we have a network of these companies acting together. So we have a lot of, we have a group called the Unicamp Ventures that promote these companies to work together. And this Unicamp Ventures I preside its council, and then we are connected such that solutions that come from these companies quickly can become part of other companies and also quickly can have a participation of the university. And the areas, I mean, there's several areas. One of the information technology is the largest one on the top. But a very good question to be asked, but where are these companies? And the thing is, 95% of them are in the state of São Paulo, where Campinas is, and 54% almost are in the state of Campinas. And if you consider the metropolitan area of Campinas, you have to add 9% to this number. So you see the impact of the university, and that's why anything that we do here will have an impact, particularly now with the COVID-19. So going through this long, perhaps too long introduction, you see that we are in the center of this, let's call it that way, of considering my physics background, this this gravitational attractor, let's say, for these companies. We have this ecosystem surrounding the university. And to us, in the beginning, it was clear that there are many people, lots of companies, lots of efforts trying to help some way. And if this is not coordinated, it just becomes a bunch of ideas that basically may go nowhere. And this is a great opportunity for 2 things. One is to really create new products and services towards helping the problem itself, but also to really making society and the ecosystem to realize that the collaboration with the university is the best bet in terms of transforming their ideas in something that's really, really tangible, and then it can become a product. The other thing is, on the other side, we saw lots of people from the government, from the hospitals, looking for solutions and not knowing where to look for. So we thought we should be a bridge between these two things. And what we did, once we started our social isolation, right in the beginning of March, what we did, we thought a lot about what was happening in Italy those days, and how important it was, for instance, to put together companies helping 3D printers to make some parts that were needed for pulmonary respiration systems. And that will, because of the logistics, because of all the problems in terms of delivering those things, it was a great thing that some startups started actually creating products and providing the service directly in the hospitals. So we looked at that and said we should promote this type of thing here and trying to come up with new solutions. Some of them may be very, very short-term type of solutions, and some of them long-term. Okay, so I'm not going to describe in detail here, but obviously some companies that were partners with us, some companies that are even incubated, they changed their way of, they were doing some work on some chemicals, and what they did was basically move everything around such that they could make, for instance, alcohol, alcohol for cleaning materials. So they basically quickly became a supplier of this type of materials, or tried to become a supplier in our system. But this was not a technology, I mean, new products, only kind of solutions for quick solutions for the demands of the urgent demands from the hospitals and from all the areas in our region. But we want something a little bit more long term. So because we have this position of being a center of this ecosystem, we did it two ways. We communicate with alumni companies because we knew some of the alumni companies could provide these services. There would be some alumni companies that quickly could shift a little bit the gears towards the solutions for the COVID-19. And at the same time, we partner with an accelerator that is sitting in our science technology park. It's not part of the park, but is in the park. It's called Baita Aceleradora. And they also made a call together. So we made a call together to the startup ecosystem, because lots of these alumni companies are not startups, and lots of the startups are not alumni companies. So we try to have a broader call. This is, I think, is important. Otherwise, you end up calling only, let's say, you want to reach the most companies that you can, and not become kind of too much linked only to your small ecosystem. Even though we have a large ecosystem, it was great to partner to other networks. Okay, so in this call from March 20 to April 29, so I see for you to get an idea of the numbers, we received 88 solutions. And we selected 16, and then we basically made those connections to the demands, like as I described before, or more than that. We gave publicity for them on websites, social media, and publishing newsletters. And we always focused on technology-based solutions. And so the next step, what we're doing now, is try to now really create new products and services. And whenever it was possible, we try to make a direct connections to people that are demanding those solutions. So we don't want to, we just want to, in some cases, we want simply to make the connections. In other cases, we really want to have this to become part of our of the collaboration with the university, which is something that I'll show more towards the end of this presentation. So for you to have an idea, the type of solutions, none of those are directly for treatment, 18 for prevention, 9 for diagnosis, several types of diagnosis, including artificial intelligence to better understand or better determine the COVID-19 based on image processing, the area of information in general, in terms of more towards logistic of how to do the logistic in the hospital, and also making available data for government or for all the organizers of the how to deal with the crisis, how to have better metrics such that the decisions are better when they are taken. And we have some of those are more like in terms of a personal, professional life adaptation, like changing how to do the home office in a better way, how to transform your company to become like a company that does not require direct interaction between people. And other, I'm not going to go through several ideas of some of them not so directly related to COVID, but actually can be something that can be used for that. I'll show you two here that I think are interesting. This company is an alumni company, and it's a startup, and they develop chambers, and basically they are using ozone, and what they are showing is developing techniques to clean or to provide lots of a very efficient way of cleaning materials that are used for individual protection in hospitals, so you don't propagate the contamination. So this company has this and is already working towards developing and evaluating, characterizing their systems such that they become right away available. And they did this work together with our biology institute in order to really measure the effects of that solution. Another one that is a little bit more, let's put that way, a little bit more towards more basic research was in terms of using silver nanoparticles, and this is because silver can help transforming a simple mask, passive mask, in active mask in terms of antiseptic procedures. So they are doing a lot of work on developing this new fabric together with silver, and this most probably will become available as material for new masks and other products that perhaps needs to use filtration as a mean to an active filtration as a mean to prevent propagation of diseases. As I mentioned before, some of these has to be developed and may not be used right at the beginning, but we are actually moving towards having solutions that even for this crisis, for this pandemic, will be using towards a little bit more later in time. Okay, now at the same time, the university started a task force, the Unicamp COVID-19 task force. And this task force is doing research, lots of research in terms of trying to find solutions in the university. And these solutions can be for equipments and the same areas that I described before, or in having supplies, because one of the problems with that was for measuring COVID-19, we rely too much on supplies that have to come from overseas. And now that became a big problem because besides of being hard to get, they become too expensive. So this task forces start to work, lots of research in terms of to actually improve or to have our materials that could be used to replace this other materials that actually would have to import, come from other countries. And so this task force was something that was very academic, or even though applied, but within the university. And then that's the call, that complements the call that we did with the startups and with alumni companies. And now this call is for everyone, including people that wants to do research with the university and try to work together with the task force. We open a channel for that. And we launched the system, and this was last week actually, and such that the alumni companies, the startups, or even people that have solutions that may want to start a company, they come and look for possible research and development products with developer projects with university, or may need services, measurements, we may want to use a lab, and then consultancy, and even technology licensing in the context of the coronavirus pandemic. So this is a call that is actually active. I mean, the call for alumni companies, for startups, we closed, and we opened this, which is a much wider call that actually I'm here inviting everyone to join us and try to be part of this ecosystem. Like I said, the outputs can be, okay, we may put you in touch with a demand from the hospital, and we probably already supplying something. Or it may be that we may put you together with a professor that has the knowledge that you need in order to develop a given product. You may be put in contact with some incubated company, may join forces with incubated companies or a big company in our science park, or you may become a company inside of the incubator. And we can help also trying to find these partners, and we can also help for these small companies, in the case of the small companies, trying to look for possibilities for funds for their research. We don't have the funds, but we can help perhaps organizing the ideas together with the professors to make proposals towards financing the new ideas. All this in the context of coronavirus pandemic. Look, we could only do this quickly because we have the network. We already are a channel that companies come, as I described it to you before, they come looking for solutions in the university in all the contexts of intellectual property partnership, events, workshops, and also entrepreneurship. We already have a channel. So what we did, we create a specific channel within our channel for communications with companies. We create this channel directly related to the COVID-19. And basically, so we took advantage of our expertise, contacts, and channel that we already have at Inova's website and adapt it, include the option. So you go there and click. You go to this area. This is the site. If you go to www.inova.unicamp.br/conexão_empresa, you probably can copy this. Then if you go there, or if you go outside the Inova, in the site you can find this easily. So in there you have a little button that you say COVID-19, and then will be the showing your with your request. Now in 5 days already, we have a bunch of demands already. And again, I put the link here for you to find it and try to connect with us. And just showing here 4 examples. One is there's these people already that develop a new pulmonary ventilator, and they need basically to validate it, to do clinical and preclinical tests with this ventilator. And they're looking for partners in the university. And then we try to look for the proper partners in terms of actually doing research, trying to bring money to finance this, and also places where they can do the clinical and the preclinical tests, besides tests in laboratories, in order to really validate their solution. Second one is a partnership for the characterization and technical validation of equipments for the disinfection of personal protection equipment. This is very important because most of when I'm knowing that lots of the material that's actually for personal protection end up contaminating other people. So you need to take care of this some way. And this is not easy. And we are not so used to doing this when we have such a high demand for high volume of these products. Also, people coming with lots of new chemical materials for disinfection that they need to do analysis in terms of really validating them and knowing or evaluating or making them more efficient in terms of the disinfection processes and trying to utilize them in the entire chain of the health provider institutions. And another example here, we had some propositions for some antiviral activity investigation for some particular type of solutions that people come and want to do this clinical research, in vitro research in the university, and that they cannot do it if you don't have an infrastructure, as I described before to you, the infrastructure the university has. But one thing that is very important from the beginning, and this is what was about 4 weeks ago, quickly, for doing all this. So let's go back there. People coming with disclosures or ideas, professors actually coming with a new invention disclosure, people trying to collaborate from outside, some people really in a desperation of somehow of changing their company, such that in some cases, in order for them to survive, they have to do something related to COVID-19. And all this needs to be organized. It needs to have some centralized way of being the dispatcher in terms of where to take. And that's what we are doing. And that's what we are recommending. And that's why we now create this only one call that you can access and communicate with us. But it's very important in the middle of all this, both from the inside to outside or outside to inside, when you have lots of people trying to help, we realize that legal procedures, intellectual property has to be very well taken care of. For people that work with this type of things, in many cases, the fact that you don't do a proper intellectual property care, you may lose the possibility of doing some of this new product or service. And we are not talking about in terms of generating more money. It's not this. It's simply because we perhaps may not find a partner that can do mass production or can help you with really transforming that into product, which is something that university does not do, if there's no protection. Some protection that at least guarantees that they won't lose money in a sense. So we need to have this very clearly done. Also, people come to use the labs in the university. This has to be well protected. So basically 2 things here had to be done and our agency had to take care of. We need simple forms, simple procedures, such that people can utilize university infrastructure or can request for consulting. The second thing is you need to expedite, although with very special care, issues related to intellectual property. And then we did this quickly, and we make this new form, which was proposed by Inova, and this was submitted to the president's office of the university, went through our juridical offices, and then quickly they could actually say how we do this. So there's no confusion, we are anticipating lots of problems that can be created if you don't take care of this quickly. So we've done this, and if people want to know, we may share the type of forms and how we did this, such that it's not very bureaucratic, but it's clearly protecting everyone. So we believe this allowed better legal certainty for the university and the collaborators, and definitely better outcome for the results that we are producing them. So with this, I conclude my talk. I think I needed to spend to use some of the time to present what we are and what describe our university, describe our agency, to see the impact of our agency in the ecosystem, to see, for you to understand how a call like this can have impact or not, and how we're trying to handle this. And I hope that our experiences that I just described to you may be of importance. It may help other activities or initiatives that go in the same direction. So I'd like to thank you very much for being with me for these about 40 minutes. And I'm here open for questions. And I know this will be recorded. You have where to contact me at Inova, and I'll be really happy to answer any questions you may have. And I would like to send back the control of this panel to Thais. Thank you very much, ENRICH Brazil, for inviting me to give this opportunity for being here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Newton, for your presentation. It was very interesting to see more about what the Inova is and how they act within the innovation ecosystem in Brazil, and also about the call that you have open for the startups that have solutions for COVID-19. And the participants are muted, so if they have questions, they can write to us in the drop-down questions. And for now, we only received a message from Jucelia. She asked us to share the presentations. We will do that. We will be sending you all a follow-up email tomorrow with a link that you can find both presentations and also the recording of this session today. Okay, so let's just give a few more minutes, Professor, so
sure,
people can write down their questions. Meanwhile, I would like to ask, do you have a deadline for this call, or this is gonna be open until we are facing the COVID-19 outbreak in Brazil?
That particular call that involved alumni companies and the startups of the ecosystem, not directly already with solutions, but not so much in terms of collaborating with us. We closed that call because we believe this new call is much more opened. And this now, we don't know. I mean, it's very hard these days to make predictions that go, beyond like 1 month or so. So right now we keep it open. And what we do, we look at this demands and work on them for about, we have like a time frame to give it direction, like 1 week to 2 weeks age direction for each one of the demands. And then we move on. For now, it's going to be open. For now, there's no deadline. Obviously, the ones that come first will be handled first. And at some point, we will have to end the call, and then we make this announcement when that time comes.
Okay, thank you. And just another question that came to my mind. Do you have any type of geographic requirements, or do you accept all companies from all over the world?
We accept companies from all over the world. Obviously, some of the cases in which you need to do to work in a lab, it may become a little bit more difficult, but there's no restriction because you can always partner with somebody in university. And nowadays, even if you were here, seriously, probably you would not be able to go to the university anyway. So you would be doing it at distance anyways. So it's going to be as far. Yeah. So we're open, so you can partner, you can determine what type of experiments you want to do, and then somebody from the university may start working with you, and somebody that has access, because some people have access to the labs because of this task force. So it may be possible to do something even if you're anywhere. And like I said, repeating myself, as of today, it makes not much difference being 3 kilometers or 3,000 kilometers away in several aspects, right?
Yes.
Which
yes.
Good. Yeah.
Okay. So we didn't receive any questions, but I'm sure that those interested in the call will be contacting you through the website that we can see now, the Inova website, or us at Enriching Brazil. We are very happy to receive your comments and your thoughts or questions. And thank you again for Professor Newton. I think we can end the session, and have a great day.
Well, thank you very much. You too. Thank you very much for this, for giving us this opportunity. And if any other questions come, please, you can follow to us, and we take care of and try to. I mean, if there's some demand, go to the call. If you have some questions about my presentation, you can send email or whatever, then we will try to answer. Okay. Thank you very much.
We just received a question from Pedro. He asks, I would like to know what is common for research groups and university as counterpart for companies to cooperate with in regards to the call.
I didn't understand the beginning of the question. Can you repeat, please?
Sure. He's asking, what is the common for research groups and universities as counterpart for companies to cooperate with? I think he's asking about the counterparts of the call.
Look, this is always case by case. The groups can be, the research groups may be from the information technology people that are developing apps. It can be from the biology labs, it can be from the electrical engineering, from the physics or chemistry. I mean, several people, different areas of expertise, areas of knowledge, actually are doing research already, and then you'll be working with them. In terms of how we'll deal, if you're talking about like what is the cost and what this has to be done, is case by case. In some cases, just simply you're going to establish an R&D project with the university, and then that will be dealt with once we communicate. And if we find a partner, we may find out what are the, you know, what each one has to provide for the project to work. So I don't have an answer. It can be, for instance, you need to use a given equipment. Okay, there's a cost for this equipment. The company may have to pay to use that equipment. Okay, but if it's so important, perhaps we may find somebody that pays for the use of that equipment. I'm not promising, but I'm saying it will depend a lot on the demand and what we want to do and how important that is in terms of how relevant it is for the pandemic crisis now. So the best way is to communicate, and if it's needed, we can already sign a non-disclosure agreement. It's all very, very straightforward, such that nobody is going to be forced to do anything that is against their will. So it's just, once we know what it is, we may find out how we can proceed. It may be that there is no solution, there is no proper solution that costs too much. It may be, okay, let's try to have a solution, but the exact counterpart is hard to tell.
Okay, yes, I think it's like you said, in each case you will have a different solution for the COVID-19, so you have to deal it case by case to see what is the requirements, what is necessary, and what can be provided as a solution.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. We don't have any more questions. So Professor Newton, thank you again for joining us. Thank you for everybody that joined as a participant. We will be sending you a follow-up email tomorrow with the link for you to download the presentations. And we are happy to receive any questions that you may have in the future. Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.